Welcome back, everybody, to the NLC. I am definitely not here praying, and I definitely was not asleep at the start of the show. Let's get into our first series and our only series of the day. It is that Fnatic versus Singularity matchup. Singularity definitely coming in as the analyst favorites, which is very interesting because you asked that question maybe 6 weeks ago, you would have said the Fnatic, probably roll this one. But Singularity winning out in terms of people's predictions here. I kind of want to start off with you, Orcs. You've generally been singing Singularity's praises since the very get-go in the NLC. What is it that you think gives them the edge here of Fnatic in a best of 5?
I think, honestly, the main thing is the mid lane, right? I think there's been some inconsistencies in the bot lane and the top lane, but I think mid jungle's been really solid. And I think Ayor coming in here has big shoes to fill, and up against Fury, he has just been standout performer throughout the split. He's been carrying on a variety of champions, things like the Jace, really instrumental, the Akali as well. And I think that's just going to be too much pressure. Mid jungle is a very easy way to win the game. You dominate that matchup, you expand that pressure to the side lanes. It just plays itself essentially, and I think that's where Fnatic is going to find issue.
And what about you, Foxy? How do you feel that Singularity approached this? So you went for Fnatic as so you went for Singularity as the winner, right? So no,
I went for Fnatic. Yeah.
You're right.
I'm the only Fnatic believer out of everyone here at the NLC. I mean, I think it's a very fair point what Orc says. Like, it is. Fury's looked phenomenal. What does he call himself? Call him bad. Badger's not looked. I mean, he's just a little bit like he's new to the team, he's new to NLC and all that kind of stuff, and I think he needs more time to gel in, and he's going to have to learn pretty quickly because now it's the best of 5. If you lose this, you're out. If you win, you're into EU Masters. So I'm curious to see how Fnatic Rising kind of play around that, and whether that's in his champion pool or just the play style, whether they decide to play through him or to stick him on something more supporty, looking play through sides or something like that. It's going to be a Trundle first pick for Singularity into Lucian, Diana. That is a strong mid jungle right there. Split damage profiles, 2 strong carries as well.
You did just mention, for Dijon, do you think he's going to have something a bit more supportive? No, he's going to have the Lucian. A lot of pressure on him to sort of carry in that early game. However, if any of you have followed Nolte in his career at all, you'll know that Trundle's a speciality.
Hell yeah.
But it's going to be potentially a Trundle support, maybe. I mean, Vasil has played Sejuani top, so I can't count it out. But there is some flexibility here. It will be the Sejuani and the Aurelia lock-in for Singularity.
I think that's going to be Sejuani jungle just because of how well it pairs with Aurelia. Like Sejuani plus melee, physical damage dealing, kind of bruiser style sort of lane is a crazy combo. The way that Sejuani's passive works, and you can activate that. I'm not really sure. I think that's definitely. I wasn't expecting that coming out from game 1 with Singularity.
Yeah, I think we've seen a couple of times where teams have prioritized that Trundle is the first pick because it's so flexible. You can put a top, jungle, or support. Actually have seen it mid, I didn't see it, I heard about it in scrims into Aurelia, and it dominated the matchup. So I can understand it from that perspective. One of the issues though is it's not very good into mobile champions with the pillar, and Fnatic responding with Lucian means you can kind of just outpace the pillar, but they still have that as a flexible option. It can still go essentially anywhere because Sejuani is flexible between jungle and top. I've seen Vasil play that. I think the Aurelia is going to be going mid though. I think that's the thing we can definitely focus on, and for Fury it's a carry. He can really establish pressure. If you have Sejuani turn up mid, you can kill the Lucian. You just dash on him, set up the passive, stun him. And the thing is, the pressure from Lucian is very important for Diana, but she's not really in a position to act on it early. She is playing to farm, she's playing to scale up and hit that level 6 point before she joins fight. So Singularity are we want to establish pressure early and try and get control of the game.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yep. Go.
No, sorry. I saw you holding in a yawn. I was like, I'll save him.
You read me well. That's what we pay you for.
I was gonna say, I think from Fnatic's side, you've got a good kind of jump in with Diana who wants to go in and just pop the ulti and stuff like that. But you kind of want something else. I don't think Diana's the best primary engage unless you get some kind of sick flank off. So I'm not too surprised to see Singularity banning away engage supports, because I think that would work really, really well with what Maxi wants to do on that pick. And we'll see what's going down here, because we've got a pretty intensely pinched support pool right here. 5 supports are being taken away. And for Singularity, they could flex a Trundle down bot side, but it's not a guarantee. Bean's going to take up one of his one of his unsurprising choices here, I think. Tristana, he's very good on that. And I honestly really like the range that this brings as well. Helps you navigate these team fights with so much stuff being thrown down from the side of Singularity.
I think as well, with the Trundle being a potential support option, like the Tristana can just kind of jump over the pillar, so it doesn't pose too much threat there, which is kind of one of the limitations with picking the Trundles really. But either way, you know, we've seen a fair bit of the Trundle support role. You've seen it, I've seen it with Guardian. I've seen it with Hail of Blaze as well, if you want to apply that more early pressure, so it can work in that regard. It looks like Singularity potentially leaning on this Ezreal as something that can kind of stay safe at a distance, disengage from the Diana, and then locking this Kennen in means they have so much power in these team fights on the back of that. Kennen in a really strong position, and for the most part, Fnatic are relatively short range. Tristana takes a while before she scales up and gets that extra range, but in the mid game, Kennen just dashes through the team and stuns everyone. He's going to have such a massive amount of impact.
Ooh, this is a lot of. I love the way that Singularity rounded this out. You fire out an Ash Arrow, and then if it lands, you're donezo. You know, Sejuani follows in, Kennen then follows in. Ridiculous. Fnatic is going to look for that disengage from the last pick, which is the Alistar. There's not a lot of good disengage that was left on the board, honestly, with the support ban. So I really like Singularity's decision there to just go all in on the engage. This does mean, however, though, that Fnatic's engage themselves, like they don't have a huge amount of agency for these team fights. So it's going to be something where you're going to have to keep your eyes on Singularity, just trying to get these picks, landing these engages, and whether or not Fnatic can survive that, because there's not a lot of good targets to eat an Ash Arrow on the side of Fnatic.
Orcs go. I mean, it looks like it's Pride's Lucian top is what we're seeing.
Yeah, I think this flex makes sense. Like the way Kennen plays at the moment is you want to play into a melee champion and you just auto them and harass them, but you don't really have too much kill pressure, and you play to scale, and then a team fight you're a monster. But Lucian will bully the Kennen out massively. And Renekton as well and Theorelia is a much more comfortable matchup. You can still set up with the Sejuani and punish, but it's just not as good a lane state for the side of Singularity. And I think when we get to team fights, I feel pretty confident in what Singularity has to offer. I think they have a ton of control, a ton of CC, great backline, great front line. The Kennen as well will pay dividends, but it's about getting there. And I think the lanes mid and top are going to be a little bit rough, and that's my concern. I could see Maxi just farming up to 6, and then once he hits that point, riding off that momentum that his solo lanes will have to find pressure. So if Singularity can navigate that, they definitely can be in a decent spot, but I'm a little bit concerned. They may end up swapping their lanes around as well to try and find the better matchups.
Yeah, we might see that happen. I think, as you said, Kennen into a melee matchup is part of the reason that you picked Kennen in the first place. So we'll have to see. First matchup, the winner of this series, of course, goes to the European Masters. They'll also match up against Tricked in our grand finals. Let's see which team kicks it off with a bang. Hand it over to our casters, Hitbrain and Jamada.
Thank you very much, guys. Hello and welcome to the caster desk. We're getting ready to go into our first of this best of 5 and our first best of 5 of summer. Singularity versus Fnatic Rising. And, you know, obviously it's something we hit on in the pre-show. It's a Fnatic who are different. They're not as strong as they have been. And, you know, something I didn't actually hit on the pre-show is, you know, for Fnatic, if they don't make European Masters this year, has been a massive letdown. They didn't make it out of the play-in stages of the European Masters. If they get knocked out here and don't even make it back to summer to redeem some of their honor, it's been an absolute failure, a colossal failure of a year from Fnatic, if that's the case.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think especially when you think about some of the strengths we've seen from Fnatic throughout the split, and yes, you know, we talk about them as not being as strong as they were, but it doesn't mean that they're not strong, right? Yes. They are still Fnatic, but they've just not been meeting the expectations that, you know, at least us as analysts and casters and probably even viewers as well have expected them to reach. But
I mean, they're an org that, you know, demands some
the
kind
name
of
alone.
Respect. Yeah, it's
the name alone.
They've been on the scene for years and years. Well, I mean, since season 1, they are, you know, one of the oldest orgs in the game, and sure, this is their academy team, but even so, that name carries over, and with it a certain responsibility, a certain expectation. And Singularity, I mean, we saw the predictions. Everyone but Foxdrop thinks that Singularity have what it takes to get this game, and even Foxdrop said it's going to be a 5-game day. So not as cut as dry as it would have been in previous seasons.
Yeah, definitely not. You know, if you look back, you know, if this is a matchup that happened last year, I'm sure people would have been saying, yeah, this is just going to be a clean, quick 3-0, maybe a 3-1 at worst. But yeah, I'm along the same lines as Foxy. I reckon this is going to be a five game day. I had a little bit of a chat with the SNG head coach as well yesterday. So just playing some games and kind of along the same lines. Had that conversation with him. And whilst he's confident, he's not himself expecting a quick day.
Yeah.
But when you're against an opponent like Fnatic, you can typically not expect a quick day. Unless you're expecting to lose. But you should never be walking into a series expecting to lose.
Well, lanes have started up. Fury starting with a W start here
Yes.
on the Aurelia. Obviously wants some kind of that reduction in the damage that Dejour's going to be able to put out. Obviously won't be charging up that passive all that quickly without using the having the Q available to him, but it's just going to play safe for now here on this Aurelia.
Definitely, and you can see power of bottom lane here from SNG. Trundle, such a strong level 1 champ, just with auto attacks alone. Typically, you see when he's in the jungle, champions just don't really try and fight him, especially if you see things like lane invades come in. And Alistar, not being a champion level 1 himself, just going to give SNG full priority down here. And Noi, I think, actually going for a mid lane gank right now. I'm going to try and eye up the Yor.
I mean, it's an Aurelia lane, so you charge that passive up very quickly. The Winter's Wrath hits for the slow, the flash to continue the chase as Fury flashes forward. Dejour able to instantly flash out themselves. 2 flashes for 1, though. I think that's okay for Fnatic.
Yeah, small win for Fnatic, right? When you're talking about the flat summoner spell trade, definitely happy to take that. Even Prospect moved up to try and assist that gank in the mid lane. But yeah, like you say, Fnatic going to be happy to take the flat trade. I think SNG not quite sure, perhaps, about where Maxi was and not quite willing to pull the trigger immediately on those flashes. Yor gets out of his life. It does disrupt the lane a tad. Both mid laners get to reset, but you can see up here Pride bullying out Weizor in the HP department. Weizor's going to have to go back to base. Could even blow his TP to make it back to the next wave. Oh yeah, lane swap, really, really smart from Fnatic, right? Because as sort of hit on at the desk, Cannon pick, kind of there to negate what a Renekton could potentially do in lane. And not only that, Renekton actually has a pretty okay time in Tyrelia anyway, so they swap the lanes around, get priority out of the top side for the most part, and Lucian should be pretty safe into the Cannon all lane. He gets to scale up for free as well, so we'll see what Fnatic can do, because it should result in a lot of mid lane priority and top side priority too. Obviously, questions around the bottom side, what they can get done. Because like SNG's bottom side in particular, we had a lot of questions about Prospect, right? As the split kind of went on, particularly I feel like in the middle of the split, had a lot of sort of level 1, level 2, level 3 deaths.
Yeah,
Definitely cleaned up on that throughout playoffs.
I'm genuinely curious how this Aurelia lane goes versus the Renekton.
I'd love to touch on it, but we might have
something.
Something's going on. Both junglers sniffing around. Noi, crucially, hasn't actually reset yet. Almost 5 minutes into the game. Maxi got his reset in. Does have all of his camps spawning up. You can see Grump all the way through to Raptor, so he's going to go back into that linear pathing and expect the same thing of Noi.
Well, let's say we do have nothing going on the bot lane, so we can talk a little bit about this mid lane.
Yeah, so of old, before Irelia got changed, this was definitely a matchup which, I think if you ask pro players about Irelia in particular, they will say, Irelia can win most matchups if the Irelia player is good enough. She's just got a very strong laning phase, right? And especially now that they've whacked off 1 point from how many stacks you need to get to max stacks, it can actually be easier to find trades. And with the W max as well, you get damage reduction. The trade power back into Renekton can definitely be strong. But I don't know if it's enough necessarily to edge it over to Irelia's side. If we're talking about 2 players of equal strength.
They're maxing W on Aurelia.
Yes.
Now that is interesting.
I don't know if it's changed on 11.15, because they did actually nerf Irelia's W on 11.15. But I would imagine it's still the W max. So it's just a lot of power.
Fury's actually Q maxing. It's Blade Surge. We did just see.
Okay.
So 3 points in Blade Surge from Fury. But I do see the power and the idea and why you would want to max the W, especially into something like a Renekton.
Weizor's about to get dove. He actually Doesn't have slash.
Ults the wave to clear it, but Pride just auto-attacked him down. I mean, he did his job. He cleared the wave, so he may only lose a plate or two, and Singularity on the other side of the map just going to pick himself up the dragon. So there is an answer, there's a trade. No Rift Herald spawned up quite yet. But if Weasel teleports back in, he hasn't actually got Pride about, so he should be A-okay. He's going to hold that teleport either way and walk up and just make sure that he can hold that teleport for when he's needed, because he knows that he has a team fighting tool here.
Yeah, definitely so. Very curious about how Weasel ended up in that position in the first place. It looked like Pride actually called him. Prospect's just gonna, yeah. Yeah, it looked like Pride called him down at some point during the lane, forced out the flash. And even though Maxi was there for the dive, it wasn't even needed in the end. And that could be a big thing. Fnatic having a winning side lane via the Lucian, and being, again, forced out temporarily.
He has to be careful because there's an Enchanted Crystal Arrow on Dragdar now, so they do have that CC.
Yeah.
If the pillar catches him at the wrong time into the Ash Hour, he didn't have Buster Shot. He's going to be okay now, though, but
yeah,
there was a window.
Yeah, that was a window, and that'll be a crucial thing to track throughout the game, because there isn't actually a champion on Fnatic that has cleanse. And SNG, they've got, you know, 2 cleansable engage tools via the Sejuani ultimate, and of course, the Ash Arrow as well. Particularly the Ash Arrow being a global threat from just about anywhere.
Weasel.
Yeah, and poor Weasel just has no vision to work with up here outside of the ward he just put down himself. So pressure of fog means he has to back away from that tower, has to drop another plate, drop a couple of waves too. We can see Pride just playing out this lane really well. Up a little bit over 10 CS. Picked up those 2 plates, and the kill leaves him 1,000 gold up already, 8 minutes into the game. He has practically the entirety of this gold lead at the moment in the game. He's pretty much earned it by himself.
Lucian, this goddamn champion, man. No matter where he goes, he's just so painfully oppressive. Oh, well, sorry, not no matter where he goes. If he's in a solo lane, he's painfully oppressive.
I mean,
give him a good support.
Lucian in bot when he was male was pretty strong, but
Lucian Braum and stuff, yeah, that was awful.
A discussion probably best suited for like 2015. Unfortunately.
Looks like we might be in for a bit of action here. Fury looking for that flawless duet. Catches the stun onto Maxi, but Fnatic going to say thank you on the leash and start the Rift Herald up themselves. It is not going to reset, actually. I thought it did, but looks like that's not the case. Beans moved over and Dragdar not here.
I mean,
so it looks like just going to concede this one.
Yeah, could fire the arrow if they really feel like it, but you can see the positional advantage is fully in Fnatic Rising's favor. And they cleared out any of the vision that SNG did have. It's pretty much dark up there.
Oh, Prosphet's pulled the wave as well. So far away.
Yeah, so nice little bit of time being bought there by Prosphet. Fury going to feel a little bit safe. Well, that is Rift Herald in Fnatic's back pocket, more accurately Maxi's. And yeah, I mean, topside tower, it's so low. You could just see it get dropped down there. They could look to dive Weasel. Still no flash, has ultimate, so he's not exactly the easiest customer to dive.
But he does come in. That's a lot of CC being laid onto Maxi. He tries to jump away with the flash, able to do so. Can't find that last shuriken. He's able to survive. The Ash Arrow is actually coming in from downtown. They've seen it. It's been pinged out on top of the wards. They know they're safe. Dragdar misses that one. And he's watching his arrow. He's completely doomed himself. Bean gets the kill. Oh, no.
What?
Just fire the arrow, man. Don't stand in the lane and watch it.
Nah. Nah, surely not. All right. Okay.
I can't wait to hear what the guys in the green room are saying about that one.
I don't know if I want to know what the guys in the green room are saying about that one. Okay, well, it's not Sunday, but apparently there's a service going on, and Bean just landed a free kill.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So let's see what he's going to be able to do with that little bit of acceleration going on. Is on his way to either. Oh, if this is a replay, it better be the top side play.
We're doing him dirty.
I mean, it just looks like he's got to be watching the arrow, right? Like, there's no other reason for it. If it was a DC, I feel like we would have maybe got.
They would have paused way earlier.
Yeah, they would have paused even. Yeah, I mean,
the moment they went in, they would have paused.
Yeah. So very strange, but Fnatic now with positional advantage in front of this Dragon right now. Pretty much complete darkness for SNG. The setup is definitely there for Fnatic. Both these teams just jostling for just river entrance vision right now, but too many members in the mid lane. Something's about to happen.
Fury, he's been caught out. He's just been moonfalled on. Maxi secures the kill. They do get the Ash Arrow from downtown, and here comes Wazor, slicing Maelstrom onto Free to lock them all in place. But here's the AD carries for Fnatic. The cavalry have arrived, and they pull out a stage 1. It goes in the goal, but it's not a goal. Fnatic walk away better from that fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's mid laner for mid laner, but both of them have teleports available. They all still does have his flash, I think, the key thing. So when he returns, has that ability to obviously find flash on stun onto somebody in this team fight. Fnatic, however, they've actually been pushed out a little bit of the river. Skullcrab is there to grant them a bit of vision. SNG, though, they still feel confident starting this one up. See, Fnatic still here. Bean has Buster Shot, and there's a teleport actually coming in from the hill now. But Fury's still so far away.
Yeah, Fury's not coming in. They're able to smite the dragon, flash the wall, and make a grand escape. Only sacrificing Nulti, but Cloud Soul spawns up. I don't feel like Soul's a win condition at this rate, but they do secure that second dragon. They slow Fnatic down on that front.
Definitely so. Real nice. I believe Rux actually interrupted Nulti's dash out. That's why he couldn't make it out of the pit. Otherwise, they would have made it out scot-free. Outside of the flashes, they had to blow to escape, and now with those death timers, the fact that they know Drag Down Prosper have gone back to reset, this is pretty much a free tower. Going to get this one down to 2 plates before the Herald gets his charge off, I believe. And this is going to be a whole 5-plate tower in one go onto Bean and onto Maxi.
That's a lot of gold.
And now, yeah, gold lead exactly. I was about to highlight 4,000 pretty much, you know, 3,600 give or take. And it's a lot of it onto Bean. He only finds himself about 600 up on Dragdar, but nonetheless got the kill, the assist, and all of those tower plates in his back pocket. Looking pretty strong right now across the board. I think the biggest gap definitely between Maxi and Naughty right now. You can see 1,500, and Maxi should have his mythic and probably tier 2 boots. Oh, Darkseal actually he's gone for, and double dagger, so it's like it's going to be Nash's Tooth second after that Rift Maker. So going for a little more sustained damage in his build, and honestly, definitely understandable. You got 3 Bruiser / Tank champions on the enemy team. If you can survive the initial burst and get the Rift Maker passive online, you can definitely sustain through it with the Conqueror.
Singularity still have a pretty scary team fighting comp, though. We saw a taste of that in that mid lane. They were down in gold when that fight happened to trade 1-for-1, and honestly, I think if they were a little bit snappier on the fight themselves and they layered the ultimates better, that could have been a way more Singularity favored team fight.
Absolutely.
So there is that thing that Fnatic always have to worry about is, you know, there's a very snappy kind of, you got the Ash Arrow for non-committal engage, same technically from the stage 1. You only have to go in when that stuff lands, and if they do start to pick up the Cloud Soul, it gets easier to follow up on that stuff. Suddenly the Kendon's ulting constantly, and he's a speedy gerbil, as Maxi does look for him, but he's not going to be able to find him. Plates are fallen off, so Pride will secure the second tower without plates, but was able to pick up, I believe it was 3 in the top side prior to that, so still also got a pretty okay gold lead himself. Now, looks like Fnatic are grouping here in the mid lane, as Deja has to be a little bit careful, but Maxi's on the flank, so I think he's feeling pretty safe right now.
Yeah, and I think if we start to talk about how the team fights are likely to unfold as the map starts to open up a little bit, a lot of these outer towers are going to start dropping pretty soon. Fury, not sure if he's going to be able to get this. Might sacrifice some of his HP to do it if he wants to commit, but I think Dayor gets here in time, so not quite going to be able to get the tower on this wave, but yeah. SNG, like you said, a lot of snappy engage, so if Fnatic disrespect some small pockets of fog, things like Ash Arrows and those Glacial Prisons can kind of just fly over the wall out of fog, like this kind of.
Yeah, there it is. If Prospect can find himself a good pillar, he's actually just locked in the wrong place. Wazor comes in, and they do find him. Slicing Maelstrom comes down. Bean's able to reset and jump!
No.
The bowler goes wide, and Rux puts the tank on. Prosper with the subjugate, able to survive. He's a very, very tanky boy. The healing is huge, and here comes the teleport. Here comes Fury, throws down his ultimate, jumps in with a Vanguard's edge, and Fury gets one. He's blade surging.
Oh, the
Moonfall's huge, and the pop is even bigger. Singularity losing everyone left, right, and center, but the health bars are blinking, and they can't follow up with anything else. That was an explosive fight.
Look at the graveyard in the mid lane right now. If that
Oh my
moonfall didn't
Lord.
come down, that would have been a fight that Fnatic 100% lose, and lose heftily as well. Fortunately, Maxi on point of that one, managed to even get out with his life. I've never seen that many dead bodies on top of each other in League of Legends before.
No. No.
That's a lot of corpses. Yeah, brilliant Ash Arrow. And even a great response, honestly, from Bean to buffer the Rocket Jump. But look at the Pillar 2, just traps Bean in the corner. But fortunately for him, gets the explosive charge off and resets the Rocket Jump. The bowler goes wide. And that's the go signal, the return signal for Fnatic to try and layer in some damage on the front line. They're, honestly, I'm not going to say he overcommits, but definitely isn't able to find that damage onto Prospect. But look at Maxi on the return after Furies engage. Finds a 4-man, I believe. Yeah, 4-man Moonfall. And it's just enough to wipe House on top of the culling as well. And it means that this fight isn't a complete wash for Fnatic. And SNG technically walk out the loser of it, losing more members.
And the end of that, Fnatic do take the mid lane tier 1, so it's 3 turrets to 1 right now. That bot lane tower taken by Fury. Dragon spawning up in 6 seconds. Singularity don't want to fight it. They have no interest in fighting it. They're going to send Fury up to the top side of the map. He's going to pick up a tower. Wazor not going to be able to hold from the charge, but we'll be able to do enough damage to clear it out before this tower goes low. So Fnatic going to get a free dragon, but the answer is going to be a tower for Singularity, although it's going to take a little while for Fury to be able to pick this one up.
Oh,
Teleport's coming in
actually,
from Dejor, so it would actually hold it.
yeah, not going to even lose out on the tower. Of course, does cost him teleport, but I was about to say, a bit of a nice segue, honestly, in terms of setup. This game with the Cloud Dragon being the soul, and the fact that we're effectively, 2 or 3 dragons away from that soul being picked up, I expect this game to turn into a very Baron focus game, which for both teams, bit of a scary prospect, I think. For SNG, they're behind right now, right? So doing any kind of Baron dance, things along that nature are going to be scary, but also for Fnatic on the opposite side, dealing with, potential flanks from an Irelia, from a Kennen, and then just all of the, respect that they've got to have to Fog in terms of dealing with Ash Arrows and Sejuani ultimates as well. Both the teams going to have to play this one out very, very cautiously. Vision setup is going to be such a big deal around these team fights.
I mean, Baron Pit with Magic Shred plus Kennen equals Ace.
Yeah.
That's how that goes. So Fnatic, they can't just, carelessly do this. So you can see the Baron Dance already being set up by Fnatic. They're trying to play some vision down there. There are a couple of wards that Singularity are working with. We've also got that Rift Herald just outside, not Rift Herald, sorry, Scuttle Crab just outside the pit. So they've got plenty of knowledge to work with. Baron's not even up for another minute, but they are very much aware, you are right, that this is probably just going to be a real fight for that Baron, or a real dance at the least.
Because Cloud Soul and the Cloud Dragons, they are valuable in this game. I will say that. I think particularly
A
for
lot of
SNG.
ultimates, yeah. A lot of key ultimates.
On the SNG side of things, they really do want to fire on their ultimate cooldowns. So expect a lot of the focus to be, around that for them. So there is a lot of value in the Cloud Dragon. So for Fnatic, taking them away, keeping the map pressure high, even if they're not able to get the Baron, just slowly choking SNG out, and then being able to fight at pivotal moments where they have small IM advantages, or they just know that they are going to be strong enough to bring SNG in. They're standing in front of that Baron and then actually just turn and fight. It can be really, really big.
Well, as Baron now does spawn and we hit the 20-minute mark, we'll keep our eyes on what the game plan is going to be for now. Crossfair's been thrown a bit of a warding trip, and there's pretty decent vision thrown out by Singularity, bar the one place where Prosper is, and he's standing on top of a ward. So they know he's there.
Yeah, they do. And expect... Oh, okay. Well, I was about to cast the curse it, so I'm just going to shut my mouth.
Oh, they land it. Can they chase it? Can they get the rest? Wazor comes in with a slicing maelstrom. That's a Johnny missed? Question mark. The trade out 1-for-1, and Maxi comes in with the moonfall. But here is the Vanguard's edge. Goes a little bit wide. Massive healing from the Renekton. Slices and dices away to safety. Great volley to slow everyone on Fnatic down. It's just a 1-for-1 so far. And the slows from Dragdar being so big. I need to see a replay. How did that Sejuani miss?
I don't know. That's... It almost looked like it went through every member of Fnatic. As a Noi gonna be able to slip out there. As well, the Vanguard's edge just barely goes wide, and that could be a team fight changer for SNG. Because they had already found the pick onto Bean. If Fury's allowed to get into that fight with full stacks, we'll have the replay right now. Have a look at exactly what just happened, because The initial arrow is good. How does the the pillar?
Oh,
The pillar inches shifting
no, he threw
away
it
from
too
it.
early. If he'd thrown it like half a second later, that actually would have hit.
I mean, I don't think that one's annoying. I think it's just one of those things where, you know, things get thrown out. It's just too close to be able to coordinate it properly.
You're predicting the flash hit in a way. And I mean,
not even that. You're
still died.
You're just trying to displace Bean to make sure that he can't actually get away. Unfortunately, the displacement meant that Noise Ultimate did miss. And on top of that, Fury's own Vanguard's Edge just barely fell short of being able to connect onto a majority of Fnatic there. And that could have been definitely a turnaround point for SNG. Fortunately, they just find one pick. Ends up being a 1-for-1, I believe.
Oh,
SNG.
Rox comes in, two-man pole. Moonfall goes down. Dejor joins in. They look for the flawless duet, and that's a scary teleport. Weasel making his way forward, slicing Maelstrom into the Ash Arrow. Does land onto the Moo Cow, and they're getting slowed. They're getting locked down, and Dejor going solo, but not dead yet. These volleys in these chokeholds just slow Fnatic consistently. They're unable to move.
Yeah, Ash pick coming out big here. I think Orcs hit on it on the desk, right? The range of Fnatic is very short. If you've got these volleys constantly coming out, they're always going to hit you. It's going to be so hard to move forward, especially into chokes. If Dragdar's positioning really well like this, you're constantly going to have your movement speed slowed down.
It's also
very, very hard to chase.
Very high value Hurricane as well, because everyone is grouped up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like you said, short range, you're volleying them, you are getting the Hurricane auto attacks off. I think it's a very high value pick here. As even had been started.
Yeah, I was gonna say even has the approach velocity, so he's gonna have all that extra movement speed to kite out. SNG, they're just about gonna be able to force most of Fnatic towards the blue buff entrance instead. They've got mid lane priority. I think maybe Dragdar looking for an arrow opportunity onto one of the carries here of Fnatic. Frontliners aren't necessarily in front of the carries just yet. Bean on the backside waiting for an opportunity to open up.
Slicing Maelstrom not available. They've only got that Vanguard's Edge. They're eking it out. They're waiting for the Dragon to reset. It does momentarily reset, recover a little bit of health, but not too much here as volley after volley comes down. The Dragon in position. Nulty doing his best to hold the position. Can he find the smite? It's going to reset. He looks to jump in. Not able to pick it up, but there's the Ash Arrow. There's the Maelstrom into the Buster Shot. Maxi slides in as well. But already, Fnatic have lost two. But Pride is doing some work. Fury able to shut him down, though. In response, the volley goes down, and Bean just about jumps before the pillar comes up. And Fnatic end out losing the team fight. Singularity trade 2 for 3.
Yeah, 2 for 3, but Fnatic do get the Dragon. The carries in this game right now, Dragdar, Bean doing so much work for their teams respectively. Bean Buster showing the slicing Maelstrom cannon out from away from his team. Potentially saves the team fight, because I think, quite rightly, Weasel was about to just run through the entire team with that ultimate on. All comes down to Rux engaging, and then also in the pit, Dragon gets really low, but you can see Weasel was about to find access onto the backline. The Moonfall turnaround is big. All the AoE damage as well from Fnatic means that they are able to trade some kills, but again, it all comes down to the slows from Dragdar. It just makes walking forward so oppressive. The moment that they start to walk forward is the moment that they realize they might have to start walking backwards. In these fights, so far, despite the gold deficit, SNG find themselves in really, really competitive. I think some of that definitely comes down to, Fnatic's very limited forms of engage too. Their options are kind of limited in terms of what fights they can and cannot choose to take. They don't have the likes of the Ash Arrow or that Sejuani Orm on their side. Their engage is relatively limited to effectively just flash headbutt pole combos and any flanks that Maxi can find with the Moonfall, or just ins you can find with the Moonfall. And that could also slow down the game a little bit. In the mid game, we've seen a bit of a slowdown, I feel like, outside of objective fights.
Yeah, I was about to say, you sure about that?
Yeah.
Weasel gets spotted out by Pride. He does a lot of damage as the Cullen goes down, and Weasel protobelts to safety. Pride chases after the slicing Maelstrom. Pride is solo killed as it's a salute from the arrow.
I was actually kind of scratching my head at Pride the whole time. That Weasel, I don't think he realizes how much damage he deals at this point in the game. There's not really a lot of MR on Pride. It's just the Merc Treads. And with the Electrocute build as well, your single target damage is really, really high. Pride kind of just walks into Azor and dies for it.
And he's got the Zonyas as well, so he had the extra resistances, and he still had the stasis available to him. So yeah, nice stuff there. Fury quite happily shoving in these tops sideways as Dragdar collects the mid waves. The lane assignment's been set up here for Singularity. Probably looking to reset. No Baron really under threat. Neither team's got particularly dominant vision, although I will say Singularity have a couple more wards in the area. Just give himself a light bit of knowledge to work with.
Yeah, and I think for Fnatic is going to be a lot on Bean. And Pride, once Pride gets that third item, is very, very close to what I believe is going to be an Essence Reaver. Bean at that 3 item mark already, has all of the armor pen to deal with the resistances and the frontliners and divers of SNG. Dragdart working towards that Infinity Edge. Could potentially get it before the next Cloud Dragon if SNG want to fight for it. I think the combined cost is around 1.2k gold, so that's about a minute before he would have to reset. See if he can find it. Because that's a pretty big power spike.
That is.
Especially when you're talking about the opposite AD carry already being at 3 items. Certainly can be the difference maker.
It's a good item as well for Bean. I like his itemization there. He's built to be able to handle this kind of more tanky front line from Nulti, and obviously Prosphere stealing the resistances from the likes of Rux or De Jour, depending on if Rux is ulted or not.
I'm actually surprised Rux went Aftershock, considering he knew he was into a trundle. Imagine Phase Rush, the more value, denies the value of the Trundle pick, a little less tanky stats, but for Fnatic, they're starting up the Baron, and that's just highlighted by our observers. Not really much vision. Blue Ward popped down now, though, so let's see what's going to happen. Wazor, top lane teleport, so they know he's there, but how are they going to deal with the angle? The Baron's being burst down so quickly.
It's going so quickly. I don't think they can be able to do it in time. The Slicing Maelstrom jumps in, and he locked only one down. Deja able to jump away. Rux will lose his life as well.
Wow.
Fnatic getting away with murder there. Although Singularity just about missing out on that ultimate. Just about missing what could have been the game changer. Dragon spawning up, and I think Singularity just going to have to be happy with what they can get, and maybe lose to Deja, who's Wazor. Is Deja
Wazor.
down? Oh, Wazor. I think you might be dead, friend. Can't get the movement speed. Lands the key onto Bean to send a message as Bean finds himself a killing spree.
Oh, it's daylight robbery from Fnatic. I mean, it's a great call to start that Baron, don't get me wrong, but if you're rooting for SNG, that's a poor Baron to give away. Definitely so. Now, third Dragon will be picked up. Crucially so. They are going to be one Dragon away from Soul. But I expect Fnatic, once that next Dragon spawns up, to contest it themselves. Now, Bean and Deja off the back of that pick as well. Going to be able to pick up that tier 2 on the top side, and Pride and Maxi should be able to finish up this one too. On the bottom side, tier 2 pretty low, so if Fnatic want to try and find a rotation down to it, they can. No, he's going to be forced out of his jungle, so he's going to lose all of these camps, so it's a pretty big gold swing to Fnatic right now. A lot of towers being taken, some jungle camps being stripped away too. You expect they want to go for that bottom side tower just because it is 600 standing gold waiting to be taken. See what they decide to do with this Baron buff. Minute and a half still left on it.
Double AD carry, you're seeing the power of Fnatic and how quick they can take these as Troll finds Mukau, teleports coming in. Rux has got back up from Maxi and from De Jour. Pillar goes down, Nulti slowing everybody up, but that's going to be Prosphere flashing and dashing away. They catch him with the frozen tomb. Glacial prison, sorry. But not going to be enough to save the day as Nulti's ultimate is now on cooldown and they are missing their support. Big waves getting pushed in on the other side of the map, but they have to reset here. Are going to be able to do so. So I think this might be all she wrote, although Wazor jumps in for a quick proto belt, trying to see if he can find the damage. The Ash Arrow hits onto Maxi, and Maxi's going to be stunned. He's going to be locked down, and that should just be a bit of a freebie for Dragdar. Lovely little arrow there.
Yeah, nice lineup there, and I think as well, SNG, they knew Bean was on the top side. They saw him try and interrupt Fury's reset there as he returned back to his team, so they knew they had the opportunity to try and chase out. Arrow does connect, and it will pick up that little pick on the back end of it. You see the gold difference over time. Definitely been Fnatic favored, though the gold sits at almost 7,000. It really doesn't feel like SNG are out of this one by any means at all. Typically, you know, yes, gold leads start to matter a little less as time goes on, but despite the gold lead growing, it doesn't really feel like Fnatic or other SNG, you know, just been kind of losing out fight after fight per se. Definitely blow for blow stuff. think as we approach the later stages of this game, it will come down to execution. When you've got, you know, 2 flanking carries on SNG, non-committal engages, and then for Fnatic, no real, you know, hard engage outside of Rux flashing in and finding combos, execution is going to be so big in these team fights.
Well, Rux finds himself behind a pillar and a hard place, but just going to eat a quick chomp. Bossfed decides he doesn't like the taste of that cow.
Fair enough. Feel like, you know, I'm not going to make that comment. It's fine. Back to the game. Weizor looking for a pick maybe onto Pride if he steps too far forward off the back of this wave. We've already seen Weizor pretty much one-shot Pride before, and he's not got much more MR or any more MR than when he did that earlier.
He's just finished up with Morella Nomicon on that base, so I actually like that as much healing reduction as possible. That's the only healing reduction they're working with right now. I mean, Weizor applies it pretty easily to the whole team due to the amount of AoE he's got. You got the famous chains on Nulti. I'm assuming it's Bean or Pride who are going to be the target of those chains. Most likely Bean, as he is 5-1.
Yeah, one or the other. Wouldn't expect the Anathema chains to be on anyone else. And yeah, okay, so Fnatic trying to set up shop in the mid lane for now. But mid lane, one of the scarier places to siege because there's so many opportunities to get flanked from Pride. Oh, the pillar into the arrow!
Beautiful. Weizor slides in, instantly busts a shot out. He goes golden, but he's locked the team down. He's doing his work as Maxi getting zoned away. There's the coming. Here's the Vanguard's edge we were talking about. Into the moonfall. Fnatic's health bars are blinking low. And Dragdar is just untouched. Guardian Angel popped. And the Crocodile will fall. Double kill for Dragdar. Singularity put on a monstrous team fight to defend their base.
Dragdar is a man on a mission in this game right now. He's got the pick to deal with what Fnatic are dealing with right now, what they're trying to put onto the table against SNG. And like you said, during the call, Jake, untouched, no one can get on top of him. This pillar into the arrow is so goddamn nice. And I believe headbutt away from Rux on the Kennen Ultimate, very good. Noe forcing Maxi out and away from the fight. Yes, Weizor dies, but the key thing is Dragdar still alive, untouched. Look at him on the backside with the Runans. The IE as well, just layering out damage. All the frontliners soaking up the damage themselves. That Fnatic can put forward, being forced out and away from that fight too. Can't return any DPS of his own.
Yeah. Just as a quick note as well, that pillar would have been invisible for us, not for the players. That's just a spectator bug.
Do not worry about that.
They didn't get killed because of an invisible pillar.
Yeah, no Fnatic pauses in the NLC, KXW.
Dragdar, almost level 16, so almost got max cooldown on his R. Has the Guardian Angel, who's untouched in the last one. It's going to be even harder to handle now. And this could just be Soul here for the side of Singularity.
Ooh, okay, Dragdar's in the pit.
Hold it. They haven't actually got their Kennen. Nulti's been heavily chunked out, so Fnatic are pretty much gifted this one. I'm not sure why Weizor zoned Rux so hard, but that did give them the dragon.
Yeah, a little bit disjointed from SNG on the approach there. Felt like Dragdar and Noe more committed to the dragon. But once bodies of Fnatic started to get a little bit too close, Noe had to back away in because of the position in Dragon. Oh, Weizor. Okay, the fight HUD still being up kind of makes me worry.
Baits you, mate. You get baited by it.
Yeah, okay.
Our observer forgets he has a keyboard at times. It's okay.
Yes, of course. But yeah, Fnatic force. Okay.
No, he's just messing with you at this point.
Just messing with us. Yeah. And SNG, they have to give up the dragon, so no soul. Going to be in the back pocket of 3 Cloud Dragons for Fnatic now, so they're almost going to be on such a short cooldown. Now they're starting up the Baron themselves, but...
It goes quick, remember. Rux did a pretty good job to zone them.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone again.
Singularity are not in the pit time. Rux is able to zone them away. They're out of the pit. They get the lockdown onto Rux, though. Slows are coming in, and maybe, just maybe, Singularity can find a fight, but it's just so hard to engage when the Moo Cow's there. But Weizor coming in with a Proto Belt. There's the Ash Arrow, lands onto Rux. He has the ulti, he's gonna pop it, jumps onto Weizor instantly. The Slicing Maelstrom's there. They throw all of the CC down, and Rux is gonna lose his life. The Vanguard comes down.
Dragdar, though,
is an absolute
look at Dragdar
as they are just resetting and jumping backwards and forwards. I still don't know who's winning this fight, but it looks like it's Singularity. It's confirmed to be Singularity. It's Bean falls to Dragdar, and Maxi's the only one left standing. Prosper going toe-to-toe with him, but Dragdar doing way too much damage. Singularity, fight the ace.
Dragdar is still untouched in these fights. If Fnatic can't find this man, they are not going to win team fights, Baron or not. And right now, SNG find themselves an ace. It's not a clean one. The fight is scrappy. Dragdar's going to push up on the top side, should get even more gold in his pocket. And honestly, Fnatic just burning through this Baron so quickly. Rux does a good job at trying to sort of disrupt. And you can see, it's Fnatic that opts into this. The re-engage, it's them. It's Rux that re-engages back on to Weasel. You'll see, SNG, they're prodding. They're trying to see what they can find. The ultimate comes out from Rux, and then he turns around on it. And it means that Fnatic have to come and commit with their support. Otherwise, they're kind of just leaving him to die. But again, all of these AoE abilities coming in from Fnatic, whether it's the culling, whether it's, Renekton being in the middle of the fight, it doesn't matter because none of them are touching Dragdar right now in these fights. And you can see he just melts through Dayor. Pride finds his way onto him. He just almost insta-gives Pride. Bean finds his way onto him. Dragdar doesn't even lose his Immortal Shield Bow shield. It doesn't matter what Fnatic do right now if it's only to the front line and it's not the carry of SNG right now and it's Dragdar.
That was a pretty rough one. Now we're finally seeing Bean itemized into a QSS as his final item. But you've got a full build Ashe now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard one. He still has his GA. The shield bow was procced in that fight, but he just healed straight back up to full health. And he's just so hard to handle here on this Ashe. Dragdar having an absolutely monster performance. And the sad thing is, he's 9-1. And that one death was because he was watching his Ashe Arrow. That's the only reason he's died this game. He could have a perfect game if he just didn't watch his Ashe Arrow.
Yeah, I mean, Dragdar right now, he's 1 kill shy of 100% kill participation. And I mean, I suppose, you can say that about a couple of the carries and the players here on SNG. It just more speaks to the fact that SNG have been fighting as a team throughout this game.
It shows that they are just team fighting a lot. So everyone's getting assists and kills because they're all there for it. Now, Singularity, what can they do with what they've gained? They're translating it currently into what?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? They're losing out on the neutral objectives, and they kind of need these neutrals to push a little bit further into Fnatic. Even though they're the ones with the agency right now, I think they are definitely aware that it gets harder to fight Fnatic the closer you get to their base because you are kind of reliant on either, trying to front to back with Dragdar, which is just fine. And, that can get easier the closer you get to the base. But it also means it lessens Weasel and Fury's potential to find, nice angles and flank, etc. Unless Fnatic just run into you like they did in the last fight. I spotted out. They're scouted here. That's maybe an issue.
They now know where they are. Nolty, Tacty Boy, the teleports are coming in. The pincer is closing down onto Fnatic. Here's Weasel, slicing Maelstrom, instantly busts a shot back out, has a stopwatch, doesn't really do too much with it, but the Vanguard's edge connects and Weasel's going to be the first victim of the fight. Fury trying to kill Beast, able to do so, and now he can deal with Du Jour. He's fine, jumping back into a Pride's face, and Singularity just have to handle Maxi. Dragdar not going down, the GA popped. Fury did his duty there in that fight, assassinating the AD carry, and Soul is all but a freebie now for the side of Team Singularity.
Yeah, they're even picking the waves, considering potentially pushing for an inhib or something along those lines. Fury in the mid lane now, going to be in a 2v1.
Jumps in onto Pride, misses the flawless duet, so he loses life, and now Prosper may just be a-okay, but a little bit of a questionable teleport there by Fury, if I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Bit of a misstep, trying to have the cake and eat it too. SNG, I think, just wanted to try and maybe push up the mid lane after the dragon here. Find an inhibitor as well. And get the replay of this fight. And again, it's really frustrating as Weasel trying to find these team fights. You get buster shotted, headbutted, whatever it is, every fight. But again, look at Dragdar. And then also in this fight, look at Fury, because he finds his way onto Bean somehow at the top of the screen. Just one-shots Bean. Bean doesn't get to play the game. Both his summoner spells blown. Maxi on the bottom side does buy a lot of time. And the GA of Fury means that the Dior and Pride also have to back away. But again, Dragdar, with these frontliners available to him, all this peel, all of this damage, shield bow as well, the healing, the shielding off that, it's just too hard for Fnatic to deal with right now. And they just have to try and isolate him, but it's so difficult because...
Oh my lord, Prosper, you're overstaying the knockdowns onto two members. Dragdar still untouched at the moment. They get the lockdown onto Maxi, and that's going to force him out. There's the slicing Maelstrom, only locks down Du Jour as he's healing up. He's staying alive for the moment. Chilling Sight onto Rux, and Dragdar can continue to slow him down. Look at the damage he is doing. Pride onto the flank, but he is just not able to get close. Now, I want to bring something up about the rune choice here because it's been brought to my attention by our observer, who is an AD carry player,
So,
about
yeah, he wants you to talk
how
about it. He's
Dragdar
excited.
went for cut down this game instead of coup de grace. And he's saying it's
a lot of
got me
damage.
2,100 additional damage from that rune out of him.
Yeah.
He recognizes there's a big front line, and it's helping him massively with that. He was saying if you compare it to Coup, you're probably looking at like 400 to 500 damage by this point in the game. So it's actually a significant amount of additional damage coming out from him. As he finds himself the Ash Hour, and their numbers are only going to get bigger here as Maxi able to survive. And finally, Singularity will pick themselves up this Baron Nashor.
Yeah, Fnatic are angry. They're really chasing. They want to try and stop anybody they can from making it back to base with this Baron buff. I don't know if it's going to be enough. That's a great pillar. And again, there's going to be more volleys coming out. Oh, this Hex Flash
over the wall. Rux finds himself in, but the slicing maelstrom's going to lock Maxi down. Maxi's chunked. He can't join in. The Vanguard's Edge has been thrown down. The bops, the knockup.
Oh, Fury's
dead. Gets Fury. This fight is a 1-for-1 so far, but Fnatic, they just can't move forward. The slows from the pillar and the volleys just are too big. They can't get close.
And again, going back all the way to the draft 40 minutes ago, the lack of true hard engage for Fnatic is really buying them in the backside right now because they just can't find good ins. They just can't. There's no, there's no Ornn in this game. There's no Nautilus. There's nothing like that available. And it means they kind of just have to walk at SNG, and trying to walk at an Ashe this fed is just so impossible. Wazor almost finds Maxi comedically there as Fury turns the Vanguard's Edge back towards Fnatic, isn't quite able to find anything else outside of his own death, gets CC'd, knocked up, drops in the middle of it. But I mean, again, SNG still happy to walk away with the Baron, and I think just crucially taking it off the map and away from Fnatic. They haven't really been able to get aggressive towards the base of Fnatic Rising so far. So having that Baron to either do that or just give them the freedom of movement on this map is a really, really big deal. And gold lead, probably the smallest it's been in a little while, just because of how far ahead Fnatic were in the gold. But again, we kind of said, right? SNG haven't felt out of this game at all. And I think a lot of it comes down to that 22,000 gold AD carry that they've got right now.
Yeah. It's a very, very fed Tristana versus a very, very fed Ashe. Now, typically I'd be like, oh, I love the Tristana, but I think when you look at the broader picture, Singularity's comp is just perfect for an Ashe. I think Ashe completely just it's the icing on the cake. It's the cherry on top. It just suits this comp down to a T.
I don't think I've seen a higher value Ashe pick than what I'm seeing right here. Oh, the Ashe arrow. He's not going to see the arrow until last second.
He's been hit. Deja's popped the blast cone, and Maxi slowed down, locked down by the permafrost. The Moonfall is just desperation at this point as Prosper gives him a chomp. Wazor being chased down by Bean, though. Wazor socks her on the carpet. He's getting the speed up, and the static he tries to recall.
He didn't see him. Oh my god, that's just a pure observer side from us. We're like, yeah, he's just going to keep on running. He didn't see Bean, for God's sake. Fortunately, he manages to make it out alive. I think he actually forced Pride to flash, so Pride doesn't have flash. I think that's why he was up there on such low HP, no ultimate. And with that in mind, SNG pushing up the mid lane, no one to respond to this inhibitor push.
Yeah, but they are looking to try and take the top side as Bean actually goes for the cleanse from the QSS, so that's now on cooldown.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's a big CD to not have as...
It doesn't matter. They're just going to go for someone else instead anyway. There's the Vanguard's Edge. Pride and Bean are actually untouched, but same for Dragdar. He's just free firing away. Rux, pretty tanky, however.
Oh, Dragdar.
Dragdar eating the culling. Finally, Prosper steps forward to take it. And tower number 1 goes down. Tower number 2, quick on the menu as they're trying to kill Rux. They're going to be able to pick him up. They're trying to the Pride space. GA pop is going to go for the resurrection. Bean's trying to kill Dragdar, but the shield bow just too big. Here comes Maxi with the Moonfall. GA pop, but the Nexus goes down. 45 minutes on the clock, and Team Singularity take game number 1 in this series.
That's 1 down of 3 for SNG, and honestly, this was just a showcase of superior team fighting from SNG. Plain and simple, and I think they just had better tools in this game to deal with the enemy team's composition. Fnatic just didn't have a real in this game. There was no true, real hard engage, and it just made them suffer throughout because they can't find their way onto Dragdar. Dragdar volleys, Runan's auras with the slows. They just could never find him, and eventually he was just so fed that it wouldn't surprise me if he dealt like double damage than like almost everybody on SNG, because he was just whopping it out every single team fight.
I mean, we'll have the damage stat. We'll have the damage stat in the post game, but Either way, that was an amazing game coming out from Singularity to take game number 1 versus Fnatic Rising, and now Fnatic are 2 Nexus pops away from being knocked out of the league and not qualifying for the European Masters, and that'd be unprecedented. The first time since we've had academy teams in both the UKLC and the NLC, but there hasn't been a representative of one of those academy teams at the European Masters for our league. So it's gonna be, you know, a massive upset if they're able to do this, but god damn, they're playing well. I'm curious to see whether or not the likes of Fnatic just go full team fight and we just have a brawl in the next game. I think that might be what they have to do, because Singularity showing their cards, they want to fight. Anyway, we're going to throw to a break. When we're back, we'll have the analysts. Let's talk a little bit about this game 1. So we'll see you in a moment.